Hello, this is Connie Belden, and in this video, we're going to look at service department charges and compare actual to budgeted to get spending variances. So let's assume we're XYZ company and our transportation department provides truck hauls of ore from the mine to two different steel mills. One is the northern, one is the southern. So let's assume we're given the following budgeted information. Total budgeted costs are $255,900. That breaks down to be 21 cents, the variable cost per ton, and 205,900 is the budgeted fixed cost. Keep in mind that 66% of that budgeted fixed cost goes to the northern plant and 34% goes to the southern plant. For actual information, we actually hauled to the northern plant 111,000 tons. And to the southern plant, we actually hauled 50,600 tons. Actual variable costs are 52,800 and actual fixed costs are 316,200. So the first thing we have to do is determine the budgeted variable cost that goes to the northern and the southern plants. So let's start with northern. The variable cost is 21 cents per ton budgeted, and we actually hauled to the northern plant 111,000 tons. So what we will do is multiply that out. 21 cents times 111,000 means that 23,310 is the budgeted variable cost for the northern. For hauls to the southern plant, we will also take 21 cents, but the actual tons hauled to the southern plant was 50,600 tons. So I'll take that times 50,600. Okay, and that is going to equal 10,626. Fix that there. Again, 10,626. Now, when you add 23,310 and 10,626, your total budgeted variable cost is 33,936. Keep that in mind. We'll need it in a moment. But next, let's go on to budgeted fixed cost. Let's start with the northern. The budgeted fixed costs are $205,900. 66% of that will go to northern and 33% to southern. So let's calculate that out, starting with the northern. 66% times 205,900 equals 135,894. For the southern, they get 34% of 205,900. Multiply that out, that is $70,006. So total budgeted fixed costs for both northern and southern together, I would add the 135,894 plus the $70,006, and I get 205,900, matching what it says the budgeted fixed costs are above. Now, in part 3, we're going to compare that to the actuals. Let's start with variable cost. The actual variable cost for the year is given at 52,800. So I went ahead and brought that down. The actual fixed cost is given at 316,200. So I went ahead and brought that down. And when I add those together, total actual cost is $369,000. Now, I'm going to bring down the numbers I calculated in parts 1 and 2. The budget of variable costs calculated in part 1, 33,936, and the budget of fixed cost calculated in part 2, 205,900. I will add those together for 239 $836. Now for the spending variance, I'm going to take the actual minus the budgeted. And I will do the same for fixed. And I can go vertically or horizontally, do the same for the total. So my spending variance is $129,164. So the overall spending variance of $129,164 represents cost incurred in excess of the budget, which was 21 cents per ton variable and 205,900 for fixed. This is the responsibility of the transportation department.